Friends, it's Mark from Superagates.com. Today's video is a video of tumbling petrified wood from South Dakota that I have cut. It should be fun to watch the progression as it goes from the rough cut to polish. Thanks for watching the video and enjoy it. Okay, we're ready to load the tumbler. And just as a beginning to explain what this tumbler is, it's a piece of large PVC pipe lined with conveyor belt. A lid of conveyor belt on top with a steel plate on top of that bolted down. It's a larger piece of equipment than most people have, but because it has the larger diameter, it gets a lot more action. The action happens when the tumbler rotates and you have the slide down on the inside of the tumbler. That's where the action is. So these actually work a little faster than a smaller tumbler. And what we're going to load in here is some of the wood that we had cut with flat pieces to see how fast we can get it done, how few stages we can use to get it done. And we are going to include a couple pieces of large bloodstone that I've preformed to put in there as well. So let's begin loading our tumbler here with our wood. Now it's also necessary to have some small pieces in there to help cushion it and to help grind the grit. So we have some rose quartz here, which works perfectly for that. And I personally put in a few of the ceramics. You can notice how small they are. And what that does is it helps cushion so that you don't get a lot of banging action. And as I said before, we're going to put some of these larger pieces in because they're always fun to get some of those. So we've got it pretty much loaded to the size, the depth that we want it. We're going to add water. I put in a little less water than most people do. I got 1.5 pounds of grit, 60/90. Every load I use jet dry finish. A little squirt of that, and what that does is it makes cleanup so much easier. So we have our water, our grit, and our jet dry in there. It's loaded with our rock. Now we need to put the lid on. These lids are tightly fitting, so it takes a little effort. Sometimes I need to use a hammer to force it. These bolts are actually drilled down into the PVC and set with epoxy. I'd like to tell you that I made this, but a friend of mine actually built these. Put our lid on. And now we are ready to bolt it down. Now we just simply put it down and turn the tumbler on, and we will wait 2 weeks, and by that time it should have broken that 60/90 grit down enough that you actually have a pre-polish on it. And what I do is I put a little plastic milk cap on there to keep it from squealing. So in 2 weeks we'll revisit this. We'll clean it up, and we should be able to put at least the wood into the polish mode. Hello again. It's been 9 days on this tumbler. I believe it was petrified wood that I'd cut into pieces so they had nice flat sides. I'm hoping that the grit is broken down and we'll be able to take those directly to polish. So let's open it up and see what's in it. First thing we got to do is dump some of this off the top. Rinse the clean water. Piece of bloodstone, large piece of bloodstone. And our wood pieces. Very smooth. They should be ready to go to polish. As you can see, I'm cleaning the grit off of the stones from the rough grind. Rinsing them off, cleaning them up, putting more water in, sorting them. Sorting those that are ready to go on. The wood is already cut flat, so it would be ready for polish. And some of the other stones that were not cut flat are not ready to go on. So I'm basically sorting those through. Tedious process, but it has to be done. Very messy too, as you can see. And I have found that it's better to be messy than clean. You get a lot more done if you can be a little messy, and that's why I have a shed. Some of these stones actually came out nice. Okay, we're in the polish stage. It's polish. It doesn't look white like it did when it came in, but it is polish. I'm dumping it into a tray. It's a fun way to do it and a fast way to do it and an efficient way to do it. Barrel's empty, material's in the tray. Now we have the reveal of what it would look like. It is polished, so it'll be wet here. I think this slow motion effect is really cool. And as you can see, it looks like there's nothing good in there until you pour some water on it. And oh, isn't that pretty? Just very pretty. All cut faces, so you get a nice look on each stone. The ceramics go through the screen and into a bin that will save them for me, so they're reused over and over and over again. The polish doesn't take much off of the ceramics. Rough grinding in the grit, that will wear them down eventually, but this does not. Okay, so this is the finished product of the petrified wood that we just polished. And essentially what we did with this wood is we took wood, I cut it. As you can see, it's cut on both sides on this piece. So you start with a flat piece. Most tumbling, you have an irregular piece. A lot of it is even crushed that you get, and so you have angular edges. It takes a lot of grinding to smooth that down. But if you start with a flat edge, your grinding process is very easy. It's a one-time thing and it's done. So we did this, we ran it through 60-90 for what turned out to be 11 days. I usually think that 2 weeks is better, but we did 11 days because I'm not a patient person. 11 days and 11 or 12 days on polish after that. We only did 60-90 and polish, and the reason that works is because of the flat cut. And if you run it long enough in the 60-90 grit, it breaks down to 220 to 400 to 500. It probably breaks down to over 1,000 grit if you run it long enough. And To me, the results are spectacular. Yes, the edges are not quite smooth, but in a way, they're also sort of nice. They really feel good to the touch. Nothing like a tumbled stone, really. And petrified wood. This particular wood is very hard. It's as hard as agate. And always have fun. This is just a portion of what we had. There's probably at least this much more out of that tumbler, maybe a little more than that. But thanks again for watching. Appreciate it. Comment if you want to comment about my process. And have a great day. Mark at Superagates.com.